Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. Right now you're watching our in-depth video review of the Sony Xperia TL for AT&T. Now it's also known as the James Bond phone just because you're going to be seeing Daniel Craig using this guy in the movie Skyfall. It's very similar to the Sony Xperia Ion from not too long ago just because it features a 4.6-inch HD mobile broadband engine display. You have 4G LTE connectivity, a dual-core processor, and in the back you have a 13-megapixel autofocus camera with an X4R sensor, so it's pretty beefy. It's classified as a mid-range device, but the best part about it is the fact that it's only $100 with a 2-year contract. See that we all know how smooth and charming 007 is in the movies, you'd expect the design of the Sony Xperia TL to follow in the same direction, and rightfully so, that is the case. It has a very interesting looking design, very similar to the Xperia Arc, and it's actually the same device as the Xperia T overseas. It has a curved back casing here, giving its distinctive looks. It's fairly easy in the hands to hold and nice and solid thanks to its aluminum casing, and overall it has a very clean appearance. Just like the Xperia T overseas, the Sony Xperia TL for AT&T features a 4.55-inch HD display with mobile broadband engine. So the resolution on here is 720 by 1280 pixels, 720p, and of course it's going to give you some nice details, very fine and sharp with text here, and of course it has a high pixel density, so no problems with visuals there. It has that nice deep black color thanks to the mobile broadband engine. Unfortunately though, the screen is very reflective and has some weak viewing angles, so it kind of makes it difficult to view in outdoor conditions. It's still kind of rare to find it nowadays, but the Sony Xperia TL doesn't feature capacitive Android buttons, but rather it's incorporated into the interface. Obviously, above the display, you have the earpiece, you have a front-facing camera, 1 megapixel in size. It has the ability to shoot 720p videos. You have the light and proximity sensors, and in top left corner, very difficult and tiny, is a blue notification light. Taking a tour around the handset's trim, we find its 3.5mm headset jack. You have the noise cancellation microphone right there. You have the micro USB port for charging and data connectivity. You also get video out with the aid of an MHL adapter. On the bottom, we just have the standard microphone, while on the right, you have a bunch of different stuff. Behind the plastic flap right here, you have access to its micro SIM, micro SD card slots, and you have the dedicated power button, volume control, and even shutter key. It's kind of close to one another, so there's some fumbling around with them, but at least they're distinctive and have good responses when pressed. And finally, in the rear, you have the 13-megapixel autofocus camera with an X4R sensor right there, LED flash that has the ability to shoot 1080p videos. You can tell it's kind of protruding from the surrounding surface. Below that right here is where the NFC chip is located with the handset, and towards the bottom, you have the single notch here for its internal speaker. There's no access to its internal battery though. So if you checked out the Sony Xperia Ion for AT&T, the interface on the TL should be very familiar. In fact, it's the same exact one. It's employing the Sony Timescape user experience, so it's very flashy and polished. You have all the cool widgets here available to you, so there's nothing different about it. What's new here is if you click the Recent Apps tray, you gain access to the mini apps here, which basically overlays these mini apps on top of whatever you're doing, so it's great for multitasking. But the selection is fairly limited, and it's not as practical as we'd like. You have a calculator, a timer, you have a notepad, and you also have a voice recorder, and that's pretty much it. But luckily, down the road, Sony's going to make some additional ones. So why is the Xperia TL referred to as the James Bond phone? Well, aside from seeing Daniel Craig using the handset in the movie Skyfall, it's actually preloaded with a bunch of different content from the movie here. Videos, wallpapers, and even you have the notification sound here as well. Classified as a mid-range device, it's nice to know that the handset is powered by a dual-core 1.5 GHz Qualcomm Snapdragon S4 processor with 1 GB of RAM, and honestly, it moves pretty good. It's very tight and responsive. You might see just a little bit slow down lag with a lot of the 3D effects, but regardless of that, it's pretty fast and peppy with most of its operations, and it does offer really satisfying performance. So with its spacious 4.6-inch display, it's an ideal for typing up long messages with its on-screen keyboard. You have two options, the stock ice cream sandwich one or the Sony Xperia keyboard if you'd like. Both are more than usable, good layout, responsive and fast, and you can't go wrong using it. Naturally, it's nice to know that the handset packs 4G LTE connectivity, so you get fast data speeds, but as far as the web browsing performance is concerned, it's also ideal too because it loads up pages, renders it properly. You have some fluid and responsive gestures here, whether it be pinch zooming or just kinetic scrolling. And there are two browsers available here. You have the stock ice cream sandwich one, or as an alternative, you could always use Google Chrome. Compared to some other handsets out there, we definitely like the stylish look of the Xperia TL's Walkman music player. It has a very nice, presentation value to it. For example, you have this visualizer, gives you some cool effects as you're listening to your music. It also boasts a bunch of different equalizer settings to fine-tune its output. And as far as the volume is concerned, really strong, good tones, with minimal distortion. With its mobile Bravia engine, the Sony Xperia TL is an ideal handset for watching videos just because it enhances the quality in terms of colors, brightness, and clarity as you're viewing. On top of that, it supports a wide array of codecs out of the box, and it plays high-definition videos with no problems at all. So with the handset's 13-megapixel autofocus camera with an X-R sensor, it manages to take some pleasant photos as a whole. It's pretty useful, and the fact that it takes pictures relatively quick, it helps it too. In outdoor conditions, there's nothing out of the ordinary. Colors seem to be a little bit oversaturated, but nothing stellar about its details. Pretty much on par to what we see with most high-end smartphones. In low-lighting situations, though, it tends to exhibit more noise and also graininess with its shots. And indoors with artificial light, we do notice just a little bit of overexposure, but the LED flash manages to cast enough lighting to really compensate for its deficiencies. Additionally, we're very content with the smartphone's 1080p high-definition video recording. It's more than usable as it presents us with some average details, some pleasant neutral-looking colors, very minimal artifacting when you're panning, and some crisp and clear audio recording. Now, the only issue that we have about it is that it's rather slow with its continuous autofocus. So when something comes up, it does take some time for it to adjust. Sadly, there's nothing special with call quality on the Sony Xperia TL, just because on both ends of the line there's some difficulty actually comprehending voices. The earpiece itself rather weak in its tone. On top of that, voices tend to sound a little bit on the dull and flat side. Conversely, on the other end of the line, our callers complain that there's a slight hiss with the voices, but the speakerphone, though, produces some strong volume tones. In our time testing out the handset, it didn't drop any phone calls, nor did we see any major fluctuations with its signal strength. Packing an 1850 mAh battery within its body, its battery life is nothing worth bragging about. In fact, it comes out to be rather average, to tell you the truth. Fully charging it, we're able to get at least a solid day of normal usage, but with heavier usage, we tend to get to the 15-hour mark. Now, that's with only HSPA Plus connectivity. If you're going to be using it on LTE, you can expect those figures to drop considerably. Obviously, the Sony Xperia TL isn't the most cutting-edge device out there, but it's nice to know that it's priced only at $100 to a 2-year contract. This is definitely a device that James Bond would easily use, just because you're getting a whole lot of bang for the buck with this device. A nice high-definition screen, you have 4G LTE connectivity, NFC, a 13-megapixel camera with an X-R sensor. It runs really nice, and you have all the cool, James Bond-related content on board as well. So it has a good balance to it. So if you'd like to learn more about the Sony Xperia TL, guys, you could check out our website, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. Thanks for watching.